Brendan Dassey Trial Transcripts, Day 5, continuing on page 88. I think by reading the transcript you would take away that the second question on the knife that he used to kill her, yes or no, because directly after that he says yeah. But that's your interpretation of the transcript where there's no answer by Brendan, right? I would disagree. I think that's the way the transcript reads. Okay, directing your attention to page 464, please. Sure. About 3/4 of the way down? Yes. Do you see where the question is asked of him? Did he say he had a gun with ... Mm-hmm. Okay, is it correct that there are actually 3 questions asked of him before he's even given an opportunity to respond? You mean in that one sentence? Not in that one sentence. In the next 3 sentences, the next 3 entries before there's any response, and there is no blank space where you're anticipating a response, right? That does not mean we're not anticipating a response. There's sometimes long pauses. Again, if I could refer back to the statement you saw in there, sometimes it takes him a while to answer for whatever reason. He's thinking of an answer, and that's not accurately reflected in here. Okay, but you don't know whether there was a pause? I don't know, but I would suspect there was, but I don't know. You're correct. Okay, it's not an uncommon technique to pepper an individual with questions, and by that I mean ask them in rapid succession by the various investigators involved. It's not a technique that I use. On page 466, yes, sir. You asked the question, did he threaten you, correct? Yes. Okay, and there is a response irregardless of what it is, correct? Yes. That little exchange, if we confine that to the threats in this particular interview, is it fair to say that the subject is changed by you during the discussion of this issue of threats, and you simply say, go back to the close, and that occurs within a matter of 3 or 4 questions? Yes, but he answers the question, so we change subjects. Okay, well, in regard to that, you never asked him, the question was asked of him, what did he say, right? Yes. Okay, nobody asked him when that was said, correct? No. Nobody asked him where it was said, correct? That's correct. Were you not interested in knowing that if someone has in fact threatened somebody, that it would be important to know when that statement was made? Well, I think again you're taking it out of context. If you see the other interview as well, we asked him that. Where did it happen? What did he say? And even in here, I'm talking about this interview. You're talking about this portion of the interview. I'm talking about the interview as a whole. I think we probably asked him a few times about that. That would be my guess. That's in here, but you're correct. When it says he does answer that question, and then we move on. Is it fair to say that there was not an effort to fully develop that as information at this point in the interview of the 27th? At this point in the interview, that is fair to say. You were more interested in going back to other things that might be more directly related to the disappearance and death of Teresa, correct? We do move around in the interview, that is correct. All right, well, is that in fact the reason that you shifted back to Attorney Fallon? Your Honor, I'm going to interpose an objection at this point and ask that we approach the court. Okay, discussion off the record. The court, you may resume your cross-examination. Attorney Edelstein, Your Honor, if I could have just a minute, I may move on to the March 1. I guess I'm not quite ready to get to March 1, but we're close. Attorney Edelstein, later in the day on the 27th, I think you said on direct because there was problems with, or what you perceived to be problems with the audio tape of the interview at the school, you took him down to Two Rivers Police Department, right? That's correct. Can you identify what's been marked as 214, please? Certainly, that's another Miranda rights form like I explained during the last interview. This is just another copy of that, not the same one. This is one that we read to him prior to doing that videotape statement in Two Rivers. All right, this is what you use when you have a criminal suspect, don't you? Not necessarily true. If you had a criminal suspect at a police department and you're going to question him, are you telling us you're not going to read him this Miranda warning? No, that's not what I said. Yes, I would if I had a suspect there. Okay. That I intended that there's some variations, as you know, that go into when you have to read them their Miranda and when you don't have to read them their Miranda. In this case, if I could explain real quickly, the district attorney requested that we Mirandize him prior to taking the statement. So that's why that was done. And the district attorney is your legal advisor, right? That is true. Okay. Attorney Edelstein, Your Honor, I move 214, please. Intro the court. It's offered. Any objection? Attorney Fallon, no. The court received. Attorney Edelstein, when you went over there to Two Rivers, your intention was pretty much to try to memorialize the type of things that you discussed up at the school? Yes. Okay, without going into the tedium of question and answers that may have, or questions that may have been asked of Brendan at that interview, is it fair to say that it was you, Fossbender, and Brendan? Yes. Okay, and is it also fair to say that some of the same techniques that were employed earlier at the high school were utilized as well at Two Rivers? Yes. And that would include lies? Yes. And that would include attempts to appeal to his emotions? Absolutely. And it would include attempts to have him give responses based upon leading questions containing facts you believe to be true? There were some leading questions. You can't tell us how many? No. Without counting them up, I guess. That would be true. Now, at the conclusion of that, is it fair to say that you were still of the opinion that Brendan had not been totally honest with you? I would say that's a fair statement. And I believe you, during the course of that conversation, made him understand from time to time that you didn't think he was telling you everything there was to tell? Yes. Ultimately, he and his mom, and I believe, was it a brother, you made arrangements, you and Fossbender made some arrangements for them to stay up at Fox Hills? Yes, we had talked about that earlier. We certainly did. Okay, and that's a resort in Mishicot? That's correct. Okay, and I believe your testimony was you wanted him to stay up there for, you were concerned about his welfare? There were two reasons, which I had stated, and that was one of the reasons, yes. Okay, and what were your two reasons? His safety and the integrity of that investigation. And isn't it true, Investigator Wiegert, that another reason was that you were attempting to befriend him and his family? Had nothing to do with it. Okay, wasn't it true that another reason you wanted him up there was to isolate him? No, if I wanted to isolate him, his mother and his brother wouldn't be there. No, that was not true. The last contact you have with investigators on the 27th was initiated at approximately 10:50 p.m. at night, right? That is true, yes. And what time was the first contact at the school? I think you said about 12:30. I think it was 12:30, but we weren't with him the whole time. I mean, we were gone a long time and we came back. Actually, Agent Fossbender came back in the evening. When you interviewed Brendan on the 1st, where did that take place? As I indicated before, that took place across the courtyard here at Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department. Do you know how many times either you or Agent Fossbender, during the course of the interview on March 1, the video one that we all watched here today, suggested to Brendan or told Brendan that he was a liar? No, I don't know how many times. Do you know how many times after he was told that he was a liar that he changed his answer in response to that sort of accusation? No, I don't know how many times. But you acknowledge he did? I would acknowledge that we said that we didn't believe he was telling the truth at certain times. Yeah, I would acknowledge that, absolutely. Well, was he not told? Exhibit number 216 marked for identification. Detective, let me hand you what's been marked for identification as 216. Do you recognize that as a transcript of the video interview that you and Agent Fossbender had with Brendan on the 1st? Yes. Same one that we saw earlier, right? With a little bit of additional on the front here? Yes. Same one. Well, if you would, directing your attention to page 540. Yes. Do you agree that that's pretty early in the contact? Yes. Okay, Brendan, on the 1st, in your mind and the mind of Fossbender, is in fact a suspect, isn't he? When you conduct this interview, he is a suspect in your mind, yes or no? No. Is that why on page 540 it was said to him by Fossbender in your presence, I want to assure you that Mark and I are both in your corner, we're on your side? I'm not sure of the question, but we did say that, yes. Okay, take a look at that middle paragraph. Is it a fair characterization and interpretation of what Fossbender says that he is encouraging Brendan to say things that might make Brendan look a little bad in order for him to be believed? He tells him to tell the whole truth, don't leave anything out, don't make anything up. We've already had an opportunity to see it. What I'm asking you, is it a fair characterization that the intent of that is to have him say things which implicate himself, and only by doing so would then you and Fossbender believe him? The intent of an interview is, as in this interview, is to get him to tell the truth. That's the intent. But it was trick. It was in fact said to him that, and I'm about halfway in the middle of that particular statement to him, even if those statements are against your own interest, you know what I mean, that then that makes you, it might make you look a little bad or make you look like you were more involved than you want to be. It's hard to do, but it's good from the vantage point to say, hey, there's no doubt you're telling the truth. Yes, that's what was said, part of breaking down those barriers. And isn't the purpose of, but doesn't that encourage him to say something irregardless of whether it's true or not? No. Because someone in a position of authority is telling him that if you say something that doesn't help you, then we might believe you. No, I wouldn't characterize it that way. On that same page, he was encouraged once again, quote, okay, you don't have to worry about things. Any idea how many times he was told that during the course of that interview? No idea. Would it surprise you if I were to suggest that it was in excess of 75 times during the course of the interview on the 1st that either you or Fassbender, in one form or another, said something to him suggesting or directly stating to him that he was a liar? I have no idea how many times, and several times we told him we did not believe what he was telling us, yes. Well, directing your attention to page 587, 587, 587. Yes, sir, I'm there. Okay, about middle way down. Okay. Fassbender, it's extremely, extremely important you tell us this for us to believe you. That statement was made to Brendan, right? Yes. He didn't respond, and you immediately said, "Come on, Brendan, what else?" Right? Yes. Okay, immediately before Fassbender makes the statement how extremely important it is, you're questioning him about her head, correct? Yes. All right, you accused him during the course of this interview of shooting Teresa, correct? Yep, and which he was able to resist every time we accused him. Well, the truth of the matter is you don't know if it's right and you don't know if it's wrong, do you? Whether or not he shot Teresa? Correct. I know he was there when she was shot. I don't. Let me stop you there. You know he was there because he told you that, right? And because of the evidence. Well, these are the bleached jeans, Exhibit 58, right? That's true, yes. Okay, you got them out of his house? That's true, yes. He told you they were there? He did. He willingly gave them to you? Absolutely. And he told you that he got bleach on there because he cleaned up some stuff at Steve's request in the garage? That's true. The court. Counsel, why don't you approach, please? Attorney Edelstein, Your Honor, I know it's almost 4:30. I guess I could wrap up for today just real quick. The court. By 4:30? Attorney Edelstein, by 4:30. The court. Go. Attorney Edelstein, these jeans, the cuffs, the bullets, the shells, the shovels, the seat, and everything that the government's paraded in here, other than these, which contain what are believed to be bleach spots, which Brendan told you about, none of these items have fingerprints, DNA, or any other scientific evidence connecting Brendan Dassey to the death of Teresa Halbach. Yes or no? That's correct. They had 5 days to clean up. Attorney Edelstein, no other questions for today, Your Honor. The court. Is this can you concluded your cross-examination? Attorney Edelstein, I doubt it. The court. Are you asking to adjourn today and reconvene tomorrow and continue the cross-examination? Attorney Edelstein, I am, Your Honor. I'll have an opportunity to review tonight, and I should be able to hopefully not take as long tomorrow. The court. All right. We will then adjourn for today. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to reconvene tomorrow at 8:30, run until noon. I'll give you the same admonition I did before. Please don't speak about this case amongst yourselves or to anyone else or anything connected with it. Thank you. Court stands adjourned at 4:26 p.m.